For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Post-game reaction time, Auburn versus LSU in men's basketball in the 2025-26 season. The Auburn Tigers, the real Tigers, are victorious on senior night. Big night, big win, big implications. We're going to talk about it. The stats and the stories, all that's coming up right now. War Eagle, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, we discuss, we share in the Auburn experience, all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us in what we're going to be doing this evening for our post-game reaction show, Auburn versus LSU. Your Auburn Tigers are victorious by the score of 88-74, a victorious senior night, sending the seniors in their final home game out on a good note and ending another rough stretch for Auburn men's basketball in their 2025-26 season. But with plenty still on the table, I'm sure that's where the majority of you want to focus tonight. But as I always caution you, we'll look ahead soon enough. Right now, we are going to focus solely on this game, the stats, the storylines, all that amongst it. And for those of you that are braving this to be here this evening late, wow, y'all are awesome. For those of you that are catching the replay, no shame whatsoever. It is weird that you tip off at 10 Eastern time, 9 Central for a basketball game in the SEC. It's just weird to think about that, especially this far over here. So I'm still trying to process that. Anyway, do us a favor if you're watching live, smash the like button. Let us know that you're here. Some of you are already doing that for us, so thank you so much for that. And come on in here and let us know what you think about the game tonight. If you've got a player of the game that you want to give a shout out to, this would be a good time to start doing that as well. You can do these same things on the replay too, but we are obviously here engaging mainly tonight with our live audience. Now, as you know, in our live audience portion, we'll try to bring up some things as appropriate throughout the stream, maybe more towards the end, but you guys kind of get the conversation going and we'll jump in with you. So we're going to go through the stats, the individual stats, the team stats, and amongst all of those different things, the storylines that happen. The one story that I'm sitting on waiting, and I couldn't remember if he needed 5 points or 6 points or 7 points, but Keyshawn Hall was supposed to become Auburn's single season free throw record holder, and I think he tied it, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I think he needed one more to pass it or to tie it. And I was sitting here just waiting, chomping at the bit to be able to talk about this evening. Of course, the one night that you need Keyshawn Hall to have one of his crazy free throw games, which he usually does, he doesn't do it. I don't know. It's wild. But we'll get it next time around because he'll find a way to get to the free throw line. That's what he does well. All right, so just opening thoughts here. I know a lot of people will, for the most part, feel a lot better after this win, but I also recognize there's still a lot of uncertainty out there for a lot of Auburn basketball fans on what happens in the future. We'll get there. We'll talk about it, and we'll get into it. But we are going to try to focus a little bit on what worked in this game, what didn't work, what do the stats tell us all about those different things. I'm just happy that the seniors got a win on what's been a rough February for them to start March off, at least with this part of March. The first part didn't go so well. I guess March, first, second, I'm doing all the math in my head. March is at least got a win in it, or at least equaled the amount of wins that we had during February. All that to be said, let's jump into it and talk about a little bit of the stuff tonight. We'll start with our individual stats. We're looking for the top player. Who is your player of the game for Auburn basketball this evening. You have several choices of which to choose from. You can obviously go with the leading point getter tonight, as usually is the case, but I urge you to look at the fullness of someone's stat line and think about what their typical production is too, to factor that in. Let's see what we can make of it tonight. Your leading scorer, continuing to dismiss this trend that Tahad Pettiford is not good offensively in the confines of Neville Arena this year. 27 points. It appeared that Tahad really marked this one on his calendar and said, no, sirree, Bob. We are going to make sure we win this thing tonight. And he made sure that he took care of his portion of that with 27 points, 10 of 16 from the field, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line, 3-point arc, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 6 assists as the leading assist getter tonight, only 2 personal fouls and 1 turnover in 31 minutes of play. Outstanding play from him tonight, and a very, very solid thing for a very solid case for player of the game from Tahad Pettiford. Maybe your second best candidate for that is my boy and one of my favorites, Kevin Overton, Mr. KO, who is just outstanding at finding himself in positions to draw fouls on people. And yes, maybe he sells it a little bit, but that's what you do. It's frustrating when it's not when it's against you, but when it works for you, it's also just as good tonight. So Kevin Overton, 21 points, 6 for 10 from the field, 4 for 6 from the 3-point arc. Both he and Tahad were just firing away, and it shows up in the stats tonight on the 3-point side of things. All of his free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 personal fouls, 1 turnover in 37 minutes of play. He plays the most out of anybody tonight in terms of minutes. To be honest with you, I know I'm a little biased about Kevin Overton here, but I'm leaning more towards KO because while he does score double digits typically for Auburn, and oftentimes into the upper teens, it's not often we see him into the 20s, being involved in other aspects of the game, being so efficient from the 3-point arc and free throws. We've seen Tahad do this type of game before, even this season, and even lately at home. So not to say that you shouldn't consider Tahad for player of the game. I'm just making my case for my boy Kevin Overton and how much I love him. Not too far behind him is going to be Keyshawn Hall with 17 points tonight, which felt like a very tame night for him tonight, and a night where he needed to pass the record for most free throws in a single season. I think most of you have confirmed that he needed 6 tonight. He only got 5, so he didn't quite get there. But hey, that's what the next thing is for. So Keyshawn Hall doesn't make history tonight, but a solid game for him. 17 points, 6 for 12 from the field. Doesn't make any of his 3-pointers tonight, so it kind of contributes to that so quiet night that we were talking about for him, where it just didn't feel like it was a typical night for him, but he still did good. 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Imagine if he made that one. 6 rebounds for him, tying with the lead with rebounds. 3 assists, 2 personal fouls, 1 turnover in 36 minutes of play. And his 1 turnover came very late in the game, too. So he almost was unblemished in that regard. We're not done with double digits, folks. Elijah Freeman. Now, I thought Elijah Freeman had a lot more points than he did tonight based off the way that he was playing. But for him tonight, 10 points, 4 for 6 from the field, 2 for 3 from the 3-point arc. He misses his 1 free throw, 6 rebounds, which ties him for the lead in rebounds tonight. 1 assist, 1 personal foul, no turnovers in 29 minutes of play, with him getting the start tonight, and as opposed to Sebastian Williams-Adams, who's been getting the start in that spot typically, or as of late, or most of the season thus far. So solid performances from all of those guys tonight. And you look how potent this Auburn team can be when not only they're getting what they need to get out of Tahad and Keyshawn Hall, when KO does what he typically does alongside them too, you can see how formidable. And then that 4th person comes alongside. And we haven't got to Keyshawn Murphy, who's right behind Elijah Freeman here too. You can see how offensively this team can be very, very good if everybody's doing their business. Now, we'll get there. The bench has got to find ways to produce a little bit more and that wasn't the case tonight. But let's cover the rest of it. Keyshawn Murphy, senior night for him, 9 points, 3 for 7 from the field. He plays 25 minutes, so match back up to his minutes. And I'll address that thing from last game, too. 3 for 7 from the field. He attempted 3 3-pointers tonight, didn't make them. 3 of 4 from the free throw line. 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 personal fouls, 2 turnovers in 25 minutes. So kind of a all over the place game for him, but still, produced in a solid way in a variety of ways for Auburn tonight. If you didn't hear last game, he was not benched, but he didn't get to start, and he had somewhat limited time. That was addressed by coach at the end of the game, that he had missed a meeting that he was like 20 minutes late for, and coach even clarified that he is never the guy to be that type of person to miss, but he has to uphold standards. And I appreciate coach upholding those standards. I think it's something that speaks to the character of what he's trying to implement here in this team, that even when some would say that you're got your season on the line there, that you shouldn't do that. I would disagree with that. I mean, now is the perfect time to do that because it shows you mean it. So to that situation, just wanted to acknowledge it, but also Keyshawn Murphy, I didn't expect that was a recurring problem for him, and it felt kind of odd. And it was nice to hear that it was just one of those times. Stuff happens. You get held accountable for it. You learn from it. You grow, and you move on from it. So there's that. That is your main scorers tonight. There is one other person who scores points, and that's it for the bench. That's Philip Jovic. I'm gonna start he needs to change his number from 38 to 4 because he's like a solid 4-point guy most games. He's 2 for 3 from the field and doesn't really have any other stats other than some personal fouls and turnovers in 14 minutes of play. Blake Musalik doesn't get any points tonight. Sebastian Williams-Adams doesn't get any points tonight. Sebastian, with some good minutes too tonight, and 5 rebounds, he has definitely slowed down and struggled offensively over the last stretch of the season, which is kind of interesting the way that that's gone alongside the struggles at times for the team as a whole. Not saying that that's a direct correlation, but that's an interesting thing to think about. Maybe there is something there. I don't know. But there is all of your individual stats, points, things like that. Again, if you have a player of the game, drop that in here. We got one from WT says, my player of the game, he's always go outside. You ask for a player of the game, WT wants to give the outside the box. Fun. My player of the game are the seniors that got in under a minute to finish out the game. Unsung heroes that make the others prepare for the games. And that is 100% true. That'd be Reed Trapp and CJ Williams, who were the two that got in there at the end of the game. And I think Blake Musalik is a junior, maybe. So I'm not sure where he stands in that. But there are obviously others as well, like managers on senior night and the two others, both the Keyshawns tonight. It was nice to have them here one last time in Neville Arena. I would imagine they both would have liked a little bit of more success this season. It's not over yet, but certainly there's still some good vibes there, it seems like. They all seemed in good spirits, lots of hugs and stuff going around amongst the coaching staff and the players. So you'll love to see that. Let's see. WT doesn't want me to knock Sway on his offense. He's instrumental in defense. And 100%, I'm with you on that. Like, I think Sway is such a great, versatile player for his prototype of the player we seem to put him in. He has shown that he can do a lot more than probably people think he can. I've just seen a slow regression in his offensive production as of late, and I'm curious what that is about. And thus, that would make sense why Elijah, as his level of production statistically has gone up, you've seen him get that opportunity with Sebastian struggling right now to be in the starting lineup. And it worked because almost every single star tonight gets in the double digits. So you tell me if you've got a player of the game we haven't talked about yet. I'm going to give it to Kevin Overton. I think Taha did outstanding, loved his play tonight. You probably should give him the player of the game if you're just not being biased like I am. I love Kevin Overton. I think he had a solid night tonight. My only gripe is, a bunch of personal fouls, but he seemed very animated at times tonight. I love me some KO, so I'm going to give him the shout out tonight. All right, so there is your individual stats. Let's get to the meat of this, the team stats. We're going to look at every bit of it to see if we can figure out what happened and why in a good way tonight. Thank goodness. We also want to look to start off with the big three. In my opinion, these three team stats will tell you whether you had a shot or not to win this game. Obviously, Auburn did. Let's see how they performed in free throws, turnovers, rebounds. Free throws tonight, a flat 73% across the board for both teams. So it's a push situation. I had hoped Auburn would have done a little bit more. Who is the biggest culprit tonight of the missed free throws? Let's see here on Auburn's side. One for Pettiford, one for Murphy, one for Hall, Elijah, all the start, and then Sebastian Williams-Adams. So, I am going to get on your boy Sebastian. But I talked about this a lot. My biggest gripe with him this season has been his inability to make his free throws. And he's a big man. I understand that. But with that is, if I am him, that's what I'm doing in the offseason, is working on this to elevate that part of his game, because he's already such a versatile player for a big man. Become like Keyshawn Murphy and make 3 out of 4, surprise the heck out of us more consistently in that way. And we're talking about a, very special player, even more so than we already think that he is. So free throw percentage tonight, Auburn does not win it, but does not lose it. It's a push situation. Let's see the rest of them. Turnovers tonight, and this might be a candidate for stat of the game. 16 turnovers to 9. Auburn wins that one. Lot more than I would like for Auburn to get. Russell, what is going on? Sorry, we got to break this. We haven't seen Russell in such a long time, man. You got to come back over here and hang out some more, man. Good to see you. I love giving some shout outs when we don't see people for a while. Where you been? Come hang out with us some more. So with the turnovers, 16 of 9, a lot more than I would like for Auburn, especially at home, but it's not as big a deal at home. 16 turnovers when you're the road team, that ain't gonna get it done, LSU. So that's a big win for Auburn in that category. Rebounds tonight, it's another tie. It's another flipping tie. 27-27. LSU wins the defensive category of rebounds. Auburn wins the offensive category of rebounds. It's a tie. So you've got two of, I don't know that we've had this happen in the big three, this situation thus far. I think I know we've had ties before in the big three this season, but not two of them. So that's just wild. So what I tell you, these tell a lot of the story of the game. I don't know if that we can say that much tonight, because there's not that big enough differential for turnovers, but it is a significant amount for both teams. The free throws and the rebounds are pushed. There's got to be something else here. So let's take a look at it and find where the difference is. Field goal percentage tonight, Auburn 54 to LSU's 55. They shot better than Auburn tonight, but yet they lost by 14 points tonight. 3-point percentage, LSU wins 47 to 42%. Both great nights for 3-point shooting. The story continues for Auburn facing teams having their best 3-point shooting night. People will say it's bad defense, and at times I'm sure it was, but it's just uncanny right now what's going on there. So not a big difference there. Both teams shot well. That's not a big difference. Let's look at points off of turnovers. Auburn does win that category, but not by a whole lot, given the amount that LSU had, amount of turnovers they have. So they win that category. Second chance points, almost a double up there. Auburn wins that one. Maybe that's your case for your stat of the game. Bench points tonight, 18-4. LSU wins that. That just shows you that Auburn starters, as we already talked about it, were so good. But yeah, that's the biggest differential in team stats that we have right now. Points in the paint, it's a tie. What am I looking at here? Points in the paint is where we usually see Auburn do very well and usually win a lot this season. But it's a tie again. So that is 3 stats of some significance I always emphasize on. Free throws, rebounds, and points in the paint, all tied. Fast break points, 9-11. Auburn wins that. Not a big differential. Blocks, 2-5. Auburn wins. Not a big differential. Steals, 7-13. It's a bigger differential, but not that big. Tied in assists. Y'all make sense of it for me. This is one of those times I feel like you can always figure it out amongst the team stats where things went right or wrong. And LSU should have been much closer than a 14-point win based off the stats. This is not there. I don't know. I'm kind of flabbergasted. This is kind of wild. So I think the most important stat of the game, based off everything that we went through, is the turnover. 16 on the road for LSU is just, you can't have that. So that's got to be the one of the game. All right. So in summary, and we'll get to some more commentary for you guys. 74-88 or 88-74. Auburn beats LSU. The real Tigers are victorious. Player of the game. You pick it. It's probably Tahad for a lot of you, but I'm picking Kevin Overton tonight. And then the stat of the game for me is 16-9. Auburn wins the turnover category, even though both teams had a lot of turnovers tonight. I think Auburn started off better, off better. But yeah, there's your summary for the game. All right, we're going to get some more of your commentary. We'll go back through a couple of your questions. Keep them coming, and we'll drop them in here to continue our conversation about Auburn versus LSU and finally do some future thinking. You all know that I'm not going to get to the future stuff until we get through the portion of focusing on the game at hand. A couple reminders for you, though, before we get into the rest of our commentary from you this evening. We have got some other scheduled live streams for you. We would love to see you all here tomorrow night, 9 Eastern. Well, technically, it is here on the Eastern tonight. Well, we'd love to see you tonight. Join us for Auburn Family Night. It's not just a baseball talk like we see here. It is all things Auburn. Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family, the Auburn experience. Join us. Live chat, live calls. We would love to get to know some of you. You don't have to be on camera. It can just be your voice. Don't be a stranger. Come on in there and get involved in the chat and the phone lines tomorrow night, 9 Eastern time, 8 Central. The big one coming up, round 2 of the Iron Bowl of basketball, or as I call it, the Iron Bowl. That is going to be a fun last game of the regular season and a very important one too. And then, of course, we'll be back on Sunday at 9 Eastern time, episode 165 of the Auburn Experience podcast. We will definitely be focused on the SEC tournament, and that one is one of our major topics. You know it. Okay, let's jump in here and see what we got going on. Auburnator says this was fun to watch tonight. He gave his take for player of the game, Tahad, and that is a solid pick there. This is from Russell. He says, what I love about Auburn basketball is they always take more shots than opponents because of the pace Bruce instilled. It's kind of like the whole Gus Malzahn, hurry up, no huddle style thing. You create more opportunities and things like that. I will go with you on this, Russell, and say that I think that their pace has slowed down a little bit over time as more Bruce was here than we've only seen one season of Steven, not even a full season yet. So I think we can wait and pass judgment on his pace of play. But it's also based off of the personnel you have and things like that. But I agree with you. I like having more opportunities. This is from WT. I hope the win gets some of the idiots off of SP's back on X, but I know that is too much to ask. Yes, that's a tough thing for some people out there that think they're oh so brave on social media. Jacob says, I am encouraged maybe by the lengthening of the lead down the stretch. Yeah, I think that's something that you got to walk away from, Jacob, tonight, feeling very happy about. Not only did Auburn kind of jockey back and forth for the lead, and a lot of times that's happened in these games, but they would give up one and then not work all their way to get back to it and like run out of gas. Tonight, they jockeyed for the position of it, and then finally they broke free. Here at home, you expect to do that, right? So maybe not as impressive, but it's still encouraging to see that, especially on the rough stretch that they've been going on. There was another Tahad player of the game that came in late. A little bit of shade for Bama. They're still a good basketball team, even without Bediako. This is from War Eagle G27. Do we have a chance to steal this win against Bama Saturday since they beat us in Nibble? Anytime, I know this is annoying to y'all, but when someone asks me, do we have a chance? My question to you back is, are they playing the game? Then they have a chance. Of course they do. Of course they do. By the way, SEC Network said a win tonight gets us to 45% chance to make the tournament. What you have to remember about all of these prognostication, that's based off of one person's metric or one person's idea of that, or a group or a media entity or something like that. It truly means nothing because they're not the committee. The committee makes those decisions. They're just doing their best guesses based off of metrics and things like that. So there isn't really a 45% chance that Auburn makes the tournament. That doesn't exist. That's just a speculation percentage. Now, what we can do is look at the body of work. And I think a lot of you, I've made this comparison last game and on other streams. Auburn's, it's the little pendulum thing, right? Auburn's win resume has been so strong. It has been, holding it up right there. But what's been the problem is their loss resume has been, down here and finally went and kind of started shifting like this. I don't know that LSU really helps you all that much, but it doesn't hurt you tonight. So there's that. I mean, certainly if the Alabama win happens, it's a big shift for the wins column of things right there. And I would agree that's pretty much a lock for the tournament at that point. I don't know where they fall, quad 2 or 3. I'm just going to guess on the road it's a quad 3 win. They are about the same record we are. They were the same record tonight, and we've now moved that. I think Micah even made this point earlier, and I don't see it on here right at this moment, but he made the point that this guarantees Auburn to be above 500 for the regular season. This is from Russell earlier. Tough for Steven to be uber successful with almost a totally new team. Hope he puts it together next year. Hopefully surprise us all somehow and finish out the season winning. Of course. There's always a chance. Yes, I know what that movie is. Maybe a quad 2. I'm not sure of that one. That Jacob says LSU kept us from falling off a cliff. We have to play really well Saturday for a shot. And here's the thing that you should be, I'm going to give you the thing that's you should be encouraged about and discouraged about. Let's do the discouraged first. It's obvious, right? Their current body of work through February into now has been limited on success. This is a good win to carry over into that. So that's your discouragement. Your encouragement is that Auburn has shown you that they can compete with everybody in the SEC and has beaten the best of the SEC at their place, which doesn't happen. So you choose how much weight you put in that, but that should be an encouragement to you. WT looked it up, apparently. Quad 3. So I was right. Look at that. It's like I do this or something for a living. I was basically guessing, so I really don't know. This was from Micah earlier. I think he got his question answered throughout the stream. He said, I have a question. What are the fries they got for the missed free throws? It's a promotion they do for most home games, I believe. In the second half, if they miss both free throws, I don't know if it's everybody or the student section gets free gooey fries or discounted gooey fries from Baumhauer's when that happens. And it's happened a decent amount this year. So I hope Baumhauer's is doing okay with that. If LSU stays at or above 75 in the net, it stays as a quad 2 win. If they drop to 76 or lower, it becomes a quad 3. So I don't know where they're at right now. War Eagle G27. What are your thoughts on SP wearing the suit like BP used to when BP was head coach at Auburn? Remember, BP didn't wear a suit for years. In fact, he was very glad when they changed the rules. They didn't have to do that. Yeah, he did that tonight. I think it was more for the seniors. I don't really think it had anything other than to do than just to honor them tonight. I mean, it reminded me of the good old days, but hey, maybe we see him wear it now for the rest of the season. That would be interesting to see if he's got a little bit of superstitious or if he's a little stitious about that. Can I say it's pretty much a lock? Keyshawn breaks the free throw record Saturday. Keyshawn Hall would literally have to change the entire way he plays the game to not have an opportunity, much less even break the record. Or he's going to break the record. it's going to happen. So Keyshawn Hall will be your in 99% chance likelihood. He is your new single season free throw record person next game. And he tried to get it this time around, and he just came up short. Jacob, did we get a big head after Florida? The slide started after that night. I think technically we got about think we got 2 more wins after that. I could be wrong. Maybe this was the turn back around. I think it's easy just to kind of walk things back and go and say, did we get a big head after that? I don't think it's as easy as that. I think it's just Auburn wasn't playing well in some areas. But if you go back, one of their bigger struggles was turnovers during when that bad stretch started. They kind of fixed that, but then they started playing bad 3-point defense at that time, and then they would play better 3-point defense, and they still would just make ridiculous 3-point shots. There's just been a lot of bad timing, mainly under Auburn's control, but it's just weird. Kyle, is it any time in the second half, or is it after a certain minute mark? Because I remember a few games ago, this is about gooey fries, someone missed 2 free throws early in the second half, but no free fries. It could not have been on for that game. Maybe it's only for midweek games. I'm not really sure. I'm not very familiar with the staff's plans for that, but maybe there's some rules that I'm not aware of. Some more information about this LSU win, because LSU is currently number 70. This win technically sits on the bubble of being a quad 2 win. However, with LSU's loss tonight, dropping their overall record to 15-15, their net ranking will fall. Let's plan on it being a quad 3. Just throwing it out. I don't know who their last game is, but there's a lot of tough teams in the SEC, and it's not going to be easy to get a win. Auburnator says we beat Texas after Florida. Then that was the final win for a bit until Kentucky, right? That's it. And the Kentucky and then this one. I think that's how we had it right there. Our defense falling off is a big reason we got on that losing streak. I would say yes, that's part of the big losing streak, but I think it's been going on long enough that there were other things. I think the turnovers were the biggest thing. They got that corrected, and then the defense fell off a little bit. But as I said, too, that there was just a lot of other things happening, too. There was behind-the-scenes drama with things like that, too, and it wasn't that as big a drama as it could have been. It just was a lot of things all lining up. And I'll be honest with you, given what all has happened this last couple of weeks, several weeks, a month, lack of success, people not getting a start, frustrations, technicals, all those kind of things. I'm kind of proud of this team for the body language that they show out there, because they've had a lot of excuses to lay down, crawl in a hole and die, and they didn't. And yeah, you call me a sunshine pumper or a Pollyanna for that. I don't care. I mean, I'm frankly proud of them for that. Let's see here. I'm just searching for a root cause at this point. And I think to Jacob's point, there's a lot of people searching for the root cause. And here's why you're searching for it so vehemently. We all are, right? Because we've seen how good this team can be. This is not a bad basketball team, and it's frustrating to watch it not work. We have seen that they can compete with some of the best, maybe not the best. I don't think there's a lot of parity this year in college basketball like there was last year. But they can. And when it wasn't working, it just was like, why? We've seen it work before. And sometimes there were obvious reasons, and sometimes it just wasn't. I'm gonna miss I'm gonna miss Murph a lot. I'm gonna miss Keyshawn Hall. I know a lot of people don't like his style of play, and I would say you only didn't like that because it was part of the losing at times. But when it was winning, it was pretty nice. I think he did exactly what he was brought in to do, to be an ISO guy, to take control of the ball, be the leading scorer every game. And he did that. And I'm very happy with the way he goes to the free throw line and makes them too. Not sure if it was the competition or not, WT says, but the defense looked really improved in working as a team tonight to me. I saw that at moments tonight. I think people will, let's look at 3-pointers tonight again. They were 47%. They shot 15 of them, so not a ton. Auburn won both of the defensive categories of steals and blocks. Yeah, I mean, I think there's some evidence for that, WT, tonight. We got a little bit of information. Per Nathan King, SP said that this when asked if he would wear a suit Saturday versus the Tide, might have to. We can have the battle of the Blazers on Saturday. Hey, I like that. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, War Eagle G27. Shout out to Murph, Hall, Now, Overton is not a senior tonight. Keep that in mind. At least he wasn't honored tonight. Trap and CJ Williams, and then a bunch of I don't have all their names, but the managers tonight. Shout out to all of them for senior night. Apparently, Stephen wore a suit for senior day because Hall asked him to. Oh, that's cool. And he will keep doing it if the team wants him to. So I think that's a great thing to bring up. And I know a lot of people are like, what does this matter? A lot of people want to act like there's this strife in the locker room. And I'm not going to say that there's not some. That tends to creep out when you're struggling like you are. It gets harder to avoid those things. There's raw feelings. But when things like that are going on, if that's true, where your star player, who's had a run-in with coach in terms of, not a run-in is not the right way to say it, but just got sat for a little bit because he wasn't doing things the way coach wanted him to do it. And they're still kidding around with each other and saying, I need you to wear this for me tonight. And he does it. That shows that that's a deep, good relationship. Deeper than fans think it is at times. Tahad said the bedtime quote. Yeah, I would love to see him back next year. All right, final questions, final comments, and I got to get out of here, folks. It is late, and I still got things to do before I can go to bed. But we have appreciated you being here. Quick reminder again, because a lot of you have been very fun and interactive, and we haven't seen some of you before, at least a lot, on our Auburn Family Night. We would love to have you there. 9 Eastern time tomorrow night. It's going to be a great conversation. You get to pick the topics. We go 1,000 different places all at once. Phone lines are open. 9 Eastern time. 8 Central. Join us tomorrow night. We'd love to have you there. We'll be talking sports, culture, family, all kinds of good stuff. I'm sure there will be lots to talk about. Do you think Auburn will make the tournament? It's the most asked question right now. So join us tomorrow night, and we appreciate you being here. Final stuff. Let's see what you guys got. People going after SP need to compare this year's roster and production to last year's group. It's overwhelmingly on last year's squad. We have to have realistic expectations. I would agree with you. There's a lot of spoiledness coming from last year and not understanding context, but that's usually what happens there. How cool would it be for SP to wear a gaudy orange and blue plaid blazer to the UA game like Wimp used to wear? Ooh, that's a nice little turn back on that. Final question. What is the X factor versus the Tide? I will give you a specific number. If they can keep Alabama below 37% 3 points, I'm going to go on the limb. They'll win the game. If they keep Alabama below 37% 3-point shots, they will win the game. That is the X factor because they're going to make their free throw. Well, I'm going to stop right there before I jinx this. Let's see here. No first-year Auburn coach. That is correct. Yeah, has ever made the tournament. A lot of shout-outs for Nathan King tonight. That's I guess he's our commentator tonight. No shade. I think it's funny. We've had his name brought up like 5,000 times tonight. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here, hanging out with us, and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Hope to see you on Auburn Family Night, 9 Eastern time, 8 Central tomorrow. We'd love to have you there. With that being said, I'll remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the exact same thing. War Eagle.